Today we are making an odds and ends shop. It's always useful to be able to chuck up a map when the party asks to do some shopping, and this small map fulfills that exact purpose. But of course, there's a little bit more to it than just that. Kicking off, I should say, while this certainly is a nice store map you could use for multiple purposes, it's also part of a Thieves Guild quest, which gets its own video. The party can come to this store and steal this dagger, which is apparently worth 2,500 gold. It's not really, it's just a test. If they successfully steal it, then they can be a part of the Thieves Guild. So while making this map, having a dagger to steal was something we needed to keep in mind, and we use this as a little bit of inspiration for the map. I'm just thinking, should the item maybe be a little bit round the corner? No, I think what we can do, so what we're going to do is, because the party are going to steal an item from here, I think we can have like the store be like this, right? Perfect, nailed it. And we'll have this as a little like bedroom back area. And at some point the shopkeeper can go in here and this item can be here, and it gives them a bunch of time to steal the item. While placing the walls down, I entirely accidentally made them a little crooked, but this is okay. Building these buildings a little bit off, having them have mistakes, having this be a little bit wonky, I think gives them a lot of character, but I think it also really importantly like frees you from having to be perfect, frees you from having to make sure like, oh, it's not perfect, I need to fix it. It's like, no, whatever, leave it. As this is a fairly simple map, we didn't do anything too crazy. We placed the store, which is called Johmia's Curios, in a nice black void while making the preview similarly pretty simple. This brought us to furnishing. Originally, I placed down 6 shelves, and while I liked the 4 in the middle of the room, I would end up changing this later. However, I really liked the idea of this being a fairly snug and tightly packed place, so having some shelves in the middle of the room and a bunch on the outside would really help capture this feeling. This is when we'd make a choice about the back rooms. Curtains were jumping out to me immediately, rather than having it be a fully separated room with full wood and door. And I would spend a little bit of time trying to figure out exactly how this would work. These are very much getting the energy of like, you know, putting it across like this, and this can be the divider of like the store back where like, you know, we can put a little bed and the store front itself. So yeah, I picked that one just because I wanted to see if they had it, and they do, and I assume all of these are going to have it as well. Blue. Ooh, I'm thinking maybe blue. It's not necessarily about what looks nicest. It's kind of what I think in this case, I think it's what's going to bring a little bit more variation to the map. I think it would be nice to have sort of like one that's like flapping open a bit. The problem is it's just flapping so much. It's just so flappity in the wind, you know? It's just like this massive thing, and I don't want it to be so that. I wish there was a way to like make it look like it was pulled across. Maybe what we can do is we can chuck like one wall down. It's a bit long, but we can chuck one wall down, right? Down a layer, and then we can have a bit of the curtain at the end. Yeah, okay, I think this is gonna work. Something like this. Okay, yeah, I'm liking this. I'm liking this. There we go. So it's a little bit walled off, but it is the curtain for the door. And I don't know, this place is just screaming it's got a curtain for a door rather than an actual door for a door. There we go. Okay, cool. Once we had our curtains and walls, it was time to place the counter. I think we're gonna go have to table, because I like the bench. I do like the bench, but I think it's just a little bit the wrong size. Maybe bar table. There's nothing that's really the right size. Maybe I could use shamrock table. It's a bit too wide, and it's the wrong energy for the place. Oh, it's not too far off the right energy actually. You know what? Let's put it down, and even though I don't think it like works 100% of the place, that's fine, because it's going to work in the concept when we build the place around this. And if I keep using the same stuff, if I use bar table, if I use the things that work well together with this wood, with these walls, it's always going to be the same stuff because it matches. But if I force myself to pick something different, if I go shamrock table and push myself, it's going to create that different energy. It's going to be more unique. And then from there, the diverse characterization will come. And I think that's going to be important for me to make sure. I keep reminding myself like, hey, do different stuff. And even though it might not be the optimal pairing of stamps, that non-optimal pairing within your mind might actually become optimal in another way. So yeah, this shamrock table, and once putting it down, I think it looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. As we kept going, we dropped down our main items, really creating the base for the store, which I like to do. Start with the bigger items and then get smaller as you go along. While doing this, we stumbled upon a natural place for the shop's quest purpose. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have a small table and it's gonna have a special item. And let's use the tree stump. You know, we got the shamrock table. Once again, I was gonna go back to that like, oh, use what I know, use what I like, use what I think is gonna fit. But what we're gonna have is a tree stump, and then we will put some plants either side of it. We'll put some plants here for decoration, and then we'll put something on top of it that's like particularly special. Or maybe that's actually where the dagger can go. They're stealing a dagger, and maybe that's where we put it to make it extra prominent within the design. Yeah, I like that. I like that, and let's commit. Let's commit to that idea. I knew Incarnate wouldn't have the sort of dagger I was looking for, as this dagger needed to be especially bejeweled. So I spent some time finding one on Google Images I could load into Incarnate and cut it out in Photoshop. Even though we were taking a real dagger and putting it into the mix with a bunch of cartoon images, I think it fit really neatly. That is what I'm talking about. Yeah, now look at us. This is the right dagger. And okay, great. Yeah, but I'm really happy with that. And I think, you know, it took a little bit of time. It was definitely a little bit of effort, but now when the party see it, they should think like, I think it stands out a bit. I think it kind of fits in with the cartooniness. I don't think it's like entirely out of place or anything, but it should be pretty notable. Like it should be sort of like, wow, that dagger is a lot. We put it on this tree stump, so it's pretty clearly its own thing. Yeah, really happy with that. With much of the base down, it was time to fill out the odds and ends store with the titular odds and ends. What we're gonna do to do this is basically just like flick through and, you know, pick a bunch of fun items. And there are some classic items that you can lean on as far as, you know, stuff to fill out a little table, stuff to fill out a Curios stop, right? All these are sort of the classics of the genre. And we can do that. We can have one of these that is sort of like, okay, great. We have that hourglass. We have this like fun sundial thing or fun globe thing. We put that down. And they are all about the same size. Maybe we actually get rid of one of these benches and put a table so we can have some bigger items. But like, you know, we have these. Okay, cool. But what I also really like doing is I also like trying to go through and pick stuff and like that is obviously not meant to be like a curio, and trying to make it something a little bit more, trying to add to it. And I feel like that just gives it a little bit more like variance. Otherwise you just sort of have the same stuff all the time. And you flick through and like maybe this wheel, okay, it's a ship it's a crow's nest on a ship, but maybe if we like put that down, you know, okay, we got this. Maybe we can put something on top of it that's kind of fresh, like this light bulb. Okay, well, that's something a little bit different. Or even I think like this light bulb, maybe that can just be a thing, right? But, you know, it's just a store with a bunch of knickknacks and you sort of put them together and you just sort of experiment. And all of a sudden, you know, you have a way more diverse collection of stuff that you can use rather than just having to use like the same items over and over again that are like intended for that purpose. And I think with Incarnate, that's something you have to really do, because it has a lot of diverse items. It has a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, like it is sort of it is a little bit limited, and it doesn't have every single thing. And nor should it. So, you know, I think doing something like putting that mushroom down and maybe putting something on top of it just to like combo some stuff is gonna, you know, maybe there's some magical glowing snowberries. Can chuck some down like this. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of interesting. That's a little bit different. That's a little bit fun. It adds to it something fresh and different. So that's what we're gonna try to do. And I think we're actually gonna get rid of one of these. And we're going to chuck a table down because I don't want everything to be the same size. So I'm actually going to chuck down 2 tables in the center here. Oh, although that works well. That works well like that. And then maybe over here we'll have another sort of a different table so it's not just shelves everywhere. The change from having a bunch of shelves to including a table and a cabinet would really give for a much more diverse set of items and would lead the shop to feeling more smorgasbordy. This isn't the feeling you want in every shop by any means, but for a shop which, you know, is just a random collection of items, I think this is important. And I think that this small change really helped to accurately articulate the atmosphere I was going for. Yeah, I want to make sure there's like different shapes and sizes in the place. I don't just want to have the same sort of symmetrical circles. I don't want to have like the same shapes for the benches. And I don't want everything just to be the same and it's all linear and it's all symmetrical. I want it to be like a little different, which is why I used these like shorter, more curved shelves and then this longer, more square shelf over here. Just something that gives it a little bit of variation, a little bit of differentiation. Just so you can point at it and go like, oh, okay, yeah, I can feel the different energy coming through. Otherwise it becomes a bit samey and a bit stale. And we don't want that. It's a shop of curios, you know, we want it to be fun. We wanted to have a bunch of stuff that's like, oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool. On top of creating variants for just the aesthetic of the map, I also want to place some stuff the party can see and get excited about wanting to get. I mean, we can have some hats. Yeah, like, I don't know, like, that's fun. Like, that's also the sort of thing where the party are like, oh, there's hats here. Like, I want to buy one of the wizard hat. I want to buy whatever, you know? And if they see these, maybe they like jump in on that and they go like, that's so cool. Like, oh, this like horned hat. And just small stuff like that can be really fun for the party. And it's not what it's about. It's not the intention, but it's, yeah, this tricorn, I think, sort of fleshes it out nicely. Yeah, it's like, say there's maybe a party of 4. It's like one of them gets the jester hat, one of them gets the horned hat, one of them gets the wizard hat, and then they have like a little party of hats. And when we are making these maps, even though most of this map, like, 1, the map is just a shop, right? That's thing A. 2, we are making it for a specific quest where the party come in and they're meant to steal this dagger so they can join a thieves guild. But 3, like, having these fun little elements where the party sees stuff and they pick it up and they play with that is what we are trying to do as well. We are trying to like create these elements where the party like, oh, that's so sick. Like, what is this potion? And the DM has to be like, oh, that's a potion of quick lightning. When you use it, you immediately shoot 2d8 lightning out of your hand. Stuff like that where like on the fly, decisions are forced to be made. Then they become a part of the campaign and it's fun and interesting. And that's why I like trying to experiment with different elements, use different items, because then that narrativization sort of comes out and can be introduced. And that's where so much fun in D&D is those random moments, is those like quick off the cuff thinking, or the party like seeing stuff that's not necessarily meant to be the main thing and going, oh, I want to focus on that. And then focusing on that is where it's a lot of fun. So yeah, really want to make sure we include these elements as we do stuff. With the main shop complete, we'd fill out the bedroom with some pretty basic furniture. We'd also go through and flesh out the black void. Around the preview stamp, there are some barrels and crates. And because we also don't have a storage area here, I figured it would make sense to lightly scatter them around all sides of the building, more so than just what appears on the stamp. Something that logically made sense, but also made the map feel a little bit extra full. Lastly, we'd add some windows, and with that, we were done. Okay, cool. So I think that is this map. It's pretty simple, but it is a nice store, and I think it has some elements that are really going to be fun to play with. Yes, we absolutely achieved like, oh, we can put the dagger down here, and that is the quest-oriented reason we made this, but there's some fun stuff. Overall, it's a pretty solid map. Yeah, I'm happy with it. So let's give it a save. This was a fun map to make, and I'm really keen to keep creating store maps in the future so we can have a whole smattering that can be used in any situation. If you'd like to use this map or any other map I've made, or you want to play the Thieves Guild quest it's a part of, then check out the Patreon for a ton of D&D content. Also check out the Twitch to do this stuff with us live, and subscribe to the channel for more weekly content that is very much the same energy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye!